Welcome everyone to our session, 5 Quick Wins to Better Manage Team Conflict. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here.
Jack,
What?
I told you, why didn't you ship the products?
Listen, I told you many times, you keep bugging me. We don't have supply chain, and engineers is screwing up, and then people don't show up on time.
But you're not responding to my emails.
I can't do this.
Don't walk away from me. How many times do I have to tell you?
I am done talking to you. Go and do something
I'm
else.
sending you to the HR office. Oh my gosh, how many times have we all experienced that? Conflict are real in the workplace, and they can be very, very exhausting. And they can be draining, and you wake up in the morning and say, like, do I really want to go to the office and face that again? So conflicts can be very difficult to manage if you don't have a map. If you do have a map, conflict can be an opportunity for growth and connection. I'm going to share with you in a short few slides in our time together how you can use the emotional connection process, or EMC as we call it, to create better connection and deal with conflict effectively. The first thing I want to really point out is, let's just look at the cost of the conflict. The CPP Global Report, the Myers-Briggs Company, put up a study in 2008, and they showed that employees and managers spend 2.8 hours per week on workplace conflict. That was in 2008. In 2020, the number went up to 4.3 hours per week. If you have 10 managers, for example, who are you paying $178 approximately per hour with the benefits and taxes, that's $772 per week per manager is spent on workplace conflict. Multiply by 10 managers. How many of you have 10 managers in your company? Right, a few, right? You are now at $7,700 per week. And per year, that comes to $400,000. Almost $500,000 is spent on workplace conflict. It's wasted. The time is energy, the focus. I remember working with companies where they had a meeting, and after the meeting, they have more meetings, because they have to talk to each individual person individually, because there was conflict going on and they didn't know how to get back to productivity. Conflicts often are active, as we saw with Jack and Paulina, or conflict can be hidden. Disengagement is a form of conflict. Disconnection, lack of productivity is a form of conflict. Lack of communication is a form of conflict, just like you heard. I'm sending you emails. Why don't you respond to me? That is a form of conflict. But conflict is just the inflammation. The virus is emotional disconnection. Emotional disconnection for human beings that seek connection is a danger cue for the brain. We can't work, we can't focus if we have emotional disconnection with people we depend on. And we depend on people at work. So our brain automatically tunes to the people we depend on, our manager, our team members, to seek connection. And all that is important to understand, because as human beings, in order for us to engage, we have to have connection. We have to have good relationships. So sometimes we don't know how to repair relationships if there's a disconnection happening. So the first thing I want to share with you is the research that we have done comes from all the way in 1950 from John Bowlby, who found attachment theory, basically said that if we do not have connection, our nervous system is not at peace. Very, very, very simple. We have to have connection for our nervous system to calm ourselves down, to be in emotional balance. Carl Rogers, humanistic theory, said that we only can grow if we have emotional safety. Emotional safety is key for our development, for our focus, for our brain to have access to our prefrontal cortex. To be clear, we have to have emotional safety. Salvador Minuchin talks about system theory, that we impact each other, just like a family unit. We can't work if we are disconnected with our colleague, if we are disconnected with our manager. We can't really be productive and motivated to do our job. So all of these theories at time built on the attachment theory and basically said our relationships are key to our motivation, to our growth, and our productivity. We talked a little bit about attachment. So when we feel safe and connected, we can express ideas freely. We can collaborate. We can support each other. If we are disconnected, our brains get very triggered. So I'm going to share with you 5 quick wins, which are outlined in your bag. You have this little brochure. Make sure to have it on your desk, because this will be very handy to you. And I'll go over with you quickly. My daughter, Polina, is going to help me with the slides.
Okay, let's start with the very first one, which is recognizing the signs of disconnection. It can be very difficult to even know whether you're disconnected or not. Some people have remote jobs and they think, oh, I'm not even part of the team. I'm totally fine. I don't have any disconnections. But then realize they are not feeling valued and important. So one of the things that I like to think about is when you wake up in the morning, do you roll out of bed before you go to work and you say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to work. I'm so excited. Oh my God, I can't wait to talk to my team. Oh, I can't wait to talk to my manager. Or you're like, oh my gosh, it's Monday. All right, let me have that coffee. Yeah, weekend was great. Can't wait till Friday. That is the first sign that you could possibly be disconnected from your team. So this is a good indication of what is happening with you. And sometimes disconnections happen on a very, very small incidence over time and then progressively get worse. So there's 2 roles that you take in every single relationship in your life and in the workplace. And the first role is called a withdrawer, and the second role is called a pursuer. So a pursuer, if you watched Jack and I do the conflict earlier, a pursuer is someone who is going after the person. You know, why aren't you answering my emails? You're not responding to my calls. And the withdrawer is like, I gotta go, I'm busy, doesn't respond to emails, is shut down during meetings. You know, those are withdrawers. And that role can actually change depending on your position in the company. So maybe you are a withdrawer with your boss, but with your colleague, you are a pursuer. So this is really important to identify, because when you understand what role you take, then you can understand what is going on with you when a conflict occurs. So you understand the signs of disconnection, and then you understand what is happening with you. When you have this awareness, that is the first step to being able to process what's going on with you and then be responsive to the people on your team.
Right, so the signs again of disconnection, if when somebody blames, criticizes, complains, lectures, that is a sign of disconnection. Or somebody withdraws, avoids, disengages, that is a sign of disconnection. And beneath these reactions is really key attachment questions. Basically saying, can I count on you? Do I matter to you? Am I important to you? Because there's emotional disconnection that is happening, and the attachment significance is coming up in that moment. So recognizing the signs of disconnection will help you to slow down the conflict. It's all about slowing things down. In the moment of when emotions go up and the reactions start happening, the most important thing is to slow things down, to recognize that people are disconnected. That is why they are acting out their worst fears of, oh my God, I'm alone. The second quick win is call out the negative cycle. So what Paulina described, when the pursuer and withdrawers are talking to each other, that is called a negative cycle. One is after the person, pursuing the connection. The other is avoiding the disconnection. So both people want connection, believe it or not. Why do they want connection? Because they depend on each other. The brain wants connection. So they will seek connection, but they use ineffective strategies. So calling out the cycle, basically saying that, oh my gosh, we're in a negative cycle. And what we need to know is the longer we are disconnected, the more conflict we will experience. So by calling out the cycle, and you can recognize the cycles, you can have a pursue-withdraw cycle, you can have pursue-pursue cycle, where both people are going at each other. Or you can have withdraw-withdraw cycle, both people avoiding each other. These are very important cycles to recognize, and you can call it out. By calling it out, you're making it implicit, explicit, you're slowing things down. So you can say, oh my gosh, it sounds like we're getting in a negative cycle. By just saying that, you're already slowing things down, recognizing what is happening. Oh, I notice we're starting to blame or starting to look for somebody to blame. We are in a negative cycle. Nobody's a bad guy, right? Nobody's fault, because that's how we express our desperation for connection. So calling it out really helps to break the pattern and become more aware of what is happening in our interactions.
I want to add also that typically we tend to have what's called a shame-blame cycle, where when we feel like we made a mistake, we feel ashamed, and then we will point fingers and blame other people. And that almost is like what we like to call a protective behavior. So when we make it clear and explicit that it is no one's fault, then it actually allows people to stay open and engaged in the conversation, so they don't actually feel like they have to defend themselves when they possibly could feel like they're being blamed.
That's a very good title, because we want to create emotional safety, and nobody wants to be the bad guy, right? The movie prize always like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. You know, because I'm feeling horrible, I'm feeling isolated and alone at this moment, but I didn't do anything wrong, right? So we want to say that, look, guys, nobody's a bad guy, nobody's fault, it's a negative cycle's fault. We externalize the problem so people start to feel safer. And that creates more emotional balance for people to actually open up to having a conversation, or to open up to feel empathy for the other person. Empathy is, we all have empathy. Sometimes it's blocked because we don't feel safe. So emotional safety is key. Restore emotional safety is number 3. And what does that mean? It means that we recognize when people have lost the connection with themselves, they will behave in a kind of a weird way. For example, I'm going to use this analogy. If you look at fish, and fish in the water looks fine. If you take out fish out of the water and throw it on the ground, it will look weird, right? It will look weird. It will behave weird. The eyes are like popping and the fish is moving crazy. The same thing with individuals. We are in a relationship. Our water is relationships. If the person is behaving weird or not like professional, it's because of the relationship. It's not about individual. We cannot just think and isolate individual and say they need coaching, and we're just gonna send them to training and they will come back suddenly fine. Well, it will only happen for 2 minutes and then they'll go back to it. We have to always look at the relationship. What is happening in the relationship? Where's the disconnect? That's what we have to ask ourselves. What is the disconnect? And when people tell me, you know what, I don't have to like this person. I don't want to like this person. I don't need to be their friends. I'm just here to do my job. Well, that's very good. Thank you for telling me that. Unfortunately, your brain doesn't work like that. Your brain says, I need to be connected to this person. This person is important to me. I need to know that this person cares about me, and I care about that person. As soon as we have that emotional connection, and that's what we do in our process, we teach people how to repair the connection. As soon as they have emotional connection, they feel happier, they feel connected, motivated. So whenever you have a problem in performance, productivity, engagement, communication, don't look at the individual. Look at the relationship. Where is the disconnect? So you can restore safety by learning how to be emotionally responsive. What does it mean? Managers and leaders need to learn how to tune to people. It's all about emotional attunement. Because if I can tune to you, I can feel what's happening for you. I can hold that space for you. I can recognize, I can just be there with you. And sometimes it takes a while for us to tune because we have to understand what is happening with us. We have to understand, what do we feel? How do we get triggered? What are our sensitivities? What are our raw spots? What are protective behaviors? What do I do in the moment when I disconnect? Do I pursue or do I withdraw? We have to know these things for us to tune. Think about it like dance, right? Every time you interact with people, you are dancing with them. And emotion is your music. So if you're dancing salsa and I'm dancing tango, guess what? We're going to be stepping on each other's toes. We're going to go into different directions. But if we are in tune with each other, we're going to be in sync. Like I love to dance Argentine tango. And you can see the difference between professionals and amateurs. Professionals are in sync with each other. Daniel Goleman talked about when teams are in sync, an emotional channel, they move together. That's what we want. We want to be emotionally responsive to each other so people can feel that you care about me, that I'm valued to you, that I'm important to you, that you care about my experience, not just my doing my job, but about who I am as a person. The result is when you have emotional safety, you have connected culture. So the difference between connected culture and disconnected is how you deal with conflicts. If you come out of conflict feeling heard, valued, important, safe, feeling like you're not alone, you have a safe culture, you have a connected culture. If you feel out of conflict, if you end up a conflict and you feel like, oh my God, nobody gets me, like no matter how I'm explaining, it's like not getting through. That is a disconnected culture. And that's very difficult for us to continue to be motivated and performing.
I just want to add too, for the last, the third part. So it's important to use validating statements. So when someone comes to you with an issue or a conflict, or they feel like they're expressing themselves, and if they don't necessarily know this process, that's okay. You can actually use validating statements to de-escalate their intensity. So when somebody is maybe sharing the struggles that they're experiencing, when you say, I hear you, it makes sense, I get it, your feelings are valid, it actually de-escalates the member on the team. So then it's much easier for them to receive the information that you're going to be giving to them.
Exactly. We are co-regulators of each other's emotions. So co-regulating is very important. Practice A.R.E. What does A.R.E. stands for? A.R.E. stands for, are you there for me? That is a key attachment question in attachment relationships. Are you there for me is an acronym for, are you accessible to me? Are you accessible? Are you able to share what's happening for you? Are you able to be open with me, to be vulnerable? Brené Brown talks about vulnerability all the time. Well, how are we going to do that if we don't have a map, if we don't have the language on how to share our triggers, our raw spots, our emotions? Not that I'm just frustrated with you or I'm disappointed. That's a surface emotion. We need to learn how to share our softer emotions. I feel unimportant. I remember working with this team, with an executive team, and every time I would say, like, how do you feel? And the person says, like, Lola, I'm a very private person. Don't ask me those questions. I don't want to tell you about my feelings. And after about 8 months, he said, I want to share my feelings. Yeah, I felt demeaned. I felt ignored. I felt like at the bottom of the pit. That's a very hard, feelings to have. And we get those feelings all the time, but we don't know how to talk about it. So we create a language for emotions so we can articulate it. And the primary emotions, we all feel sad, shame, anger, fear. All of these are primary emotions. We need to be able to recognize them and understand what's happening with my body, what's happening with my fear. What am I afraid for? Number one fear for managers is I'm ineffective. I'm not effective as a manager. Number one fear for direct reports, I'm going to be fired. I'm going to lose my job. So recognizing these fears, we need to understand the human, right, behind the work, the human element. So are you accessible? Are you responsive to me? If I come to you and share my unhappiness, you need to learn, you need to be able to know how to respond to me, like Pauline says, to co-regulate my emotions so I can regain my balance. When I come to you, I don't really want you to solve my problem. I want you to be there for me. I want you to hold my space. I want to know that I'm not alone in that experience. When I'm able to do that, I'm going to be solving my problems by myself. Why? Because as soon as I get my emotional balance, my prefrontal cortex is open, I'm clear, I can understand ideas, I can express myself better, and I can be open to other options. Being connected means flexible, being open. Being disconnected means rigid. I'm only focusing on protecting myself because in that moment, I don't think you care about me. Right? That's very, very key to understand. And engaged, are you emotionally engaged with me, means even if you don't agree with me, are you still emotionally engaged with me? You can be present physically, but are you really listening to me? That is emotional engagement. So everything that you learn in the emotional connection process and all through the books that I have written gives you different tools how to be A.R.E.
And the very last one is focus on connection, not just the resolution. So there is a part of the process that we like to call a bonding moment. So you can create a very emotionally connected conversation, but at the end of the conversation, we want to be able to be there for someone on an emotional level. So when we typically ask the question, well, what do you need? Or what can I help you with to feel safe? Well, typically people like to say, well, respond to my emails or, produce those products I said. And that's not what we're looking for here. What we want to do here is to create that bonding moment and to experience that emotional connection. So following up with the reassurance, the acknowledgement, the validation, those are things that creates that bonding moment. And that's where you find that secure attachment that takes place. Because the amazing thing about this is if you don't have a process in place, then the conflicts become progressively worse. But if you do have a process in place, you actually notice that there are less and less conflicts over time because that person feels so securely attached and they are now thriving, which is what we want in a workplace environment.
And the more people are secure in their relationship, the less triggered they will become. So it will be a much better and healthier culture for you to deal with. So everything that we are talking about is how do we create that emotional safety, emotional connection, emotional thriving environment where people can collaborate, support each other. I mean, people have told me over and over again that when I went through the process, it was hard for me to believe that we actually can trust each other again. But as soon as we have that bonding moment, it puts everything in perspective. I don't know if you ever watched a video called Still Face. Anybody who has seen this video called Still Face? It's on YouTube by A.R.E. Still Face. It shows a mother playing with the baby. And the baby is responding. And then they ask the mother to go still and silent. And now you watch the baby going through 3 stages or 4 stages of trying to get the attention for the mother. The first thing the baby does is to reach. It's like reaching, Mom, come back to me, right? And the mother is still silent. The second stage is the baby starts screeching, like making noises. Come on, respond to me. The third stage is the baby turns away, shuts down. And the fourth stage, the baby starts crying. And what A.R.E. and his teams found out is that adults go through the same stages as the baby. So no matter if you're 1 year old or 35 years old or 65 years old, 99 years old, you are wired for bonding. If people shut down, especially when they're shut down and the other person is pursuing, that's very difficult for us to deal with. And the withdrawers and pursuers don't really actually recognize that they are participating in escalation. So the more pursuer shuts down, the more anxiety the pursuer feels. The more pursuer comes across as aggressive and attacking, the more the withdrawer would shut down. So we want to be able to re-engage the withdrawer, because that's what we want to do. We wanted them to come back to the dance floor, and we want to soften the pursuer by giving them the tools to share what is happening with them, like emotions, fears, raw spots, triggers. It actually softens the pursuer because they have that conversation, they have that language. By giving the tools to the withdrawer, also giving them the language, it helps the re-engagement happens, okay? So what we're going to do now, just basically the last thing is conflict does not need to be a roadblock to your success. You can learn how to deal with conflict by just these five steps. So we have this team emotional safety assessment, and what we do is we assess the perception of your safety with your manager and with your colleagues. We're going to give you the number, and it comes through this form, like Strength Finder gives you strength and 24 capabilities in emotional safety. And you can actually learn from this report what are your strengths and what you can do better, ideas for improvement. Okay.
Yeah.
So we will have now some giveaways on our books. Okay.
Okay, so we are going to do a fun little game. Hopefully you were paying attention. Everybody pull out your cell phone, and we are going to play a little game, and we're going to give away the books, actually. So there are 5 prizes and a Starbucks gift card. So, and a bookmark as well. All right, bring out your phone, and you're going to pull up text. Just go ahead and text your name to this phone number so I know who won. And as soon as you do that, oh, you can, oh, I have what, WhatsApp? Yeah, you can use WhatsApp, yeah. Okay, so right away you get the link to the assessment. So everyone here that attended gets it free. You typically have to pay for this assessment, but everyone, congratulations, you just got it for free. Okay, so we're gonna play a little game. I'm gonna ask you a question. Whoever texts me the answer first wins a book, okay? It's okay if you can't write that fast. You write the best that you can. It makes sense. Your feelings are valid. And I give you a big hug after, okay? Okay, are you guys ready? Okay. We also have a really amazing chant that we do at EMC Leaders. It goes like this. EMC sets me free. Can you guys try it? EMC sets me free. A little louder. EMC sets me free. All right, the very first question is, there are two roles that you take in a relationship, and it can switch between relationships. Name one of those roles. All right, we have a winner. Are you ready? All right, the winner is Brianna. Yay! Congratulations! All right, question number 2. What is the acronym that we talked about? For I can't say the words because then you'll know the acronym. Dun, dun, dun. And then the rest of the sentence happened. What is the acronym that we talked about today? All right, we have a winner. Jen Pantaleo? Who's Jen? Is Jen here? Yay, Jen, congratulations! Okay, we got 3 more questions. Let me think. Just kidding, I got him. Okay. This is a hard one. Whose fault is it in a cycle, in a negative cycle? Whose fault is it? All right, we got a winner. Oh my gosh, you guys are so fast. It's amazing. Marla? Where's Marla? Yay, Marla, congratulations. Okay, we got 2 more questions. Name one emotion that you experience when you're disconnected. One emotion. Yes, we got a winner. Frankie Cole. Yay, congratulations, Frankie. And we have last question. What is the name of the assessment that you're going to take after this workshop? Look at your notes, it's okay. Okay, we got it. Yusuf Kadar, who's that? Congratulations, Yusuf. All right, you guys, thank you very much for joining us today. I know we only have a few books left in the bookstore, but you can find them also in the bookstore. Come get an autograph with Dr. Lola here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. Come and talk to us. We're at booth 931, or come talk to me after here. Thank you so much.